Despite elevated mortgage rates, existing home sales and home prices are up in many of California's counties. In today's video, I'll share all the details. And by the way, this is part 2 of my 2-part video series I make each and every month regarding the California housing market. If you missed my first video, that was based on what's happening right now at the statewide level. But today's video is based on what's happening at the countywide level, because there's some very big differences among the 53 counties that the California Association of Realtors tracks. So I have a lot to share, so let's begin today's video. And of course, if you haven't subscribed just yet, I invite you to do so because I post frequent housing market updates so you guys can make a more informed decision about whether to buy or sell a house right now, whether it's in California, Texas, Florida, or any other state nationwide. Anyways, according to the California Association of Realtors, they posted this about a week ago. It says 40 counties posted an increase in closed home sales from a year ago. This is February last year through February this year. Mono County posted the biggest gain in sales, up by 300%, the biggest year-over-year change statewide. After that was Plumas, which is about an hour north of Sacramento. And then we have Tuolumne up by 77%. So this means out of the 53 counties that are tracked by the California Realtors, 40 of them, or approximately 75%, have posted gains in home sold prices. In regards to home prices at the regional level, and there's, by the way, 7 regions in California that the California Association of Realtors tracks, all major regions registered an increase in home prices from 1 year ago. In fact, the San Francisco Bay Area experienced the biggest increase on a year-over-year basis, up by a whopping 22.6%. I'll share some data regarding that because I looked at San Francisco and also Alameda County and Sacramento County because I want to share how the numbers we're looking at today, or I should say for February, how does that compare to the all-time record highs that was set back more or less in the spring months of 2022? And spoiler alert, we haven't reached record highs yet. We're still down compared to the peak we saw in 2022. In any case, looking at each of the 50 regions or counties here in California, home prices continue to show a year-over-year improvement in many counties. So 47 of the 53 counties in California posted a higher price compared to 12 months ago. This means that approximately 89% of California's counties have higher home sold prices right now compared to February 2023. In fact, the biggest increase was actually in Siskiyou County, up by 63.5%. Then we had Mono County and Lassen County. One thing I'll mention regarding those 3 counties there, the prices tend to fluctuate greatly because they don't have a whole lot of sales. So if you have a house that's sold that it's, I don't know, on a 20,000 acre lot, for example, I'm just kind of throwing numbers out. But if you have a high sale in 1 month, where we didn't have the same high sale 1 year ago, the variations in prices can vary greatly month to month. In contrast, there was only 5 counties that posted a decrease in home sold prices compared to 12 months ago. The biggest decrease was actually in San Mateo County, down 7.6%. After that, we have Kings County and Amador County. In regards to active listings or housing inventory, the amount of houses for sale, 34 of the 53 recorded a year-over-year increase, with El Dorado County jumping the most, up by nearly 57% from a year ago. After that, we have Yolo County and Solano County, each increasing by more than 37%. Okay, let's change gears slightly here and go over some slides regarding how each of the counties fared here in California. Here is a one-page snapshot about what's happening right now at the statewide level overall. And again, if you missed my video regarding that, I'll provide a link in the video description below here. So overall for the state, the median sales price increased to $806,490, up by 9.7% from 12 months ago. The month supply is only at 3 months, days in the market only at 22 days. Also, home sales increasing by 1.3% on a year-over-year basis. Let's have a look at SoCal. So SoCal, Existing home sales up by 7%, quite a bit more than the 1.3% average at the statewide level. Also in SoCal, you're looking at existing home sold price at $825,000. That's an increase of 10.8% from February 2023. The month supply, also days in the market, roughly on par with the statewide average, as well as the sale price to list price ratio at 100%. This is basically a fancy word to say that overall, for the houses that did close escrow, and by the way, today's video is only looking at existing single family houses, but overall, a 100% ratio means that on average, for the houses that closed this February, they sold for the seller's final list price. Let's also take a look at the Central Coast. Giant increase in sales, up by 18.7%. Also, prices rose by 11% there as well. These other metrics roughly on par with the statewide averages. The Central Valley, where I live and work as a real estate agent here in Sacramento, is approximately right there. We're looking at $478,000 is the existing home sold price. That's up by 6.3% year over year, slightly below the statewide average at 9.7%. And sales barely squeaking out a gain, only increasing by 0.8% year over year. Also, let's look at the San Francisco Bay Area. Pretty big changes here. So sales rose by 15%. Look at this, existing home sold price nearly $1.3 million. That is below the $1.5 million. That was the all-time record high set back in 2022. So despite the fact that prices rose by 22.6%, they're still down compared to the highs we saw in 2022. Days in the market, very, very fast. Also, the month supply only at 2.1 months. A more balanced real estate market is in the range of 4 to 6 months and not 2.1 months. This figure here, the sale price to list price ratio, tends to be a lot higher compared to other counties and other regions because for whatever reason, for example, in San Francisco, it's entirely normal to list a house for $1 million, knowing that's going to sell for $1.5 million, for example. So houses get listed far below current market values. That's why on average, houses, or one of the reasons why houses on average sold for 1.9% over the seller's final list price. In regards to the far north, that is in the far north of California. Anyways, sales rose by 12.5%, and also we're looking at prices rose by 2.7%. These metrics below here tend to be a little bit softer compared to other regions, which is entirely normal. In regards to sales, on a not national level, at the statewide level, sales reached the highest level since September of 2022. That's based on this figure right here, 290,000 units. That is seasonally adjusted and also it's annualized as well. So the sales pace for February, the highest sales pace since September of 2022. It also rose by 12.8% on a month-to-month basis. By my dumb math, that's an increase by more than 10% for 2 consecutive months as well. Having said that, as you can see by this graphic right here, the current sales pace right now at 290,000 is way below pre-pandemic levels, where you should be expecting around 400,000 sales. So looking at pre-COVID levels, this is the lowest level since approximately 2008. Let's also take a look at how each of the regions here fare regarding sales. So overall, 47% of all houses that closed escrow this February came from SoCal. In contrast, the San Francisco Bay Area, 18%, the Central Valley at 23%. Of course, you can see here, the Central Coast, the far north, making up only a total of 6% of all closed home sales statewide. They also provided this as well. This is home sales growth by region. The blue bars here is the year-over-year change in closed home sales this February compared to February of 2023. Anyways, the Central Coast saw a big increase up by 18.7%, whereas the Central Valley only increased by 0.8%. From 1 month ago, compared to January, the biggest increase actually in the San Francisco Bay Area, up by nearly 25%. Let's have a look at home prices. So again, we're at $806,490. This is an increase of 9.7% from 12 months ago. But also when looking at prices compared to February of 2020, that means that the median home sold price at the statewide level has increased a whopping 39%. Also, as I mentioned in my video from about a week ago, this 9.7% increase on a year-over-year basis is the biggest increase since March of 2022. I'm also doubtful this growth will continue though, due to the rise in rates. Rates overall decrease in November, December, and January, but they increase in February, and also they have increased since February as well in March. So I'm doubtful we'll continue to see this growth rate in home prices nearing 10% right now. On top of that, we're also seeing a rise of inventory levels as well. So more houses are getting listed for sale. That is actually causing inventory to increase, which should put downward pressure on home prices in the months to come. The California Association of Realtors also provided this as well. Out of the 53 counties they track, only 6 of them are selling for over the seller's asking price more often than not. So that is that blue dotted line right here. So for example, Alameda County, approximately 73% of houses that sold this February sold over the seller's asking price. Over the asking price as well was actually in Santa Clara, San Mateo, San Francisco, Contra Costa, and Imperial counties as well. Also in Sacramento, approximately 45% of houses that sold this February sold over the seller's list price. As I mentioned, inventory levels are increasing statewide. So right now, there's approximately 6.8% more homes for sale from 12 months ago. The last time we had an increase of housing inventory on a year-over-year basis was approximately 11 months ago. So we had a huge decrease in inventory levels from early 2023 through approximately January 2024. Compare that to the huge gains of inventory levels we saw in 2022, which of course is one of the main reasons why home prices decreased so much in the last half of 2022. Huge increase of inventory levels. And of course, one of the main reasons why we're seeing an increase of inventory levels because we're seeing a huge increase in the amount of newly listed houses, rising by double digits for 2 consecutive months right now. Speaking of that, here's a look at 5 major regions here in California. The relationship between home sales, closed home sales, and active listings, which is housing inventory. What caught my attention was this right here. So in the Bay Area and the far north, home sales are far outpacing the growth rate of active listings. So in the Bay Area, active listings are down by 0.5% from February 2023, yet sales are increasing by nearly 15%. So the growth rate of sales far outpacing inventory gains. In fact, inventory is actually going down. This right here and also this right here is a recipe for home prices increasing because we're seeing demand rising faster than the growth rate of inventory levels. It's actually worse in the far north. Active listings down by 5.6%, but sales up by 12.5%. In contrast, in the Central Valley, sales only increased by 0.8% year over year versus active listings or supply rising by 12.2%. That right there is more a scenario in which home prices could go down due to the fact that sales, or I should say active listings, are far outpacing the growth rate of home sales. In fact, housing supply or housing inventory increased in more than half of the state. The biggest rise again was actually in El Dorado County, which is approximately 20 minutes east of Sacramento. Inventory there rose by 56.6% from February of 2023. Also, big increase in Yolo, Solano, Santa Barbara, and San Benito. Also in Sacramento, California, inventory increased by about 25% year over year. Okay, let's also have a look at how each of the regions and counties fare regarding home prices and home sales, both on a month-to-month basis and also compared to 12 months ago. So overall, statewide sales, or not sales, home prices rose by 9.7%. The biggest increase for each of these regions here was in the San Francisco Bay Area. The median sold price nearly $1.3 million, up by a whopping 22.6% year over year. Prices rose by 14% from January, which is absolutely crazy. Like I mentioned, this is still way below the all-time record highs that was set back in 2022. Back then, the median sold price for the region as a whole in the San Francisco Bay Area was approximately $1.5 million. So this means that they're still down by about 243,000 compared to the peak that was set back in 2022. Let's also have a look at how each of the counties in the Bay Area fared as well. Alameda County at $1.3 million. 1 year ago, it was at $1,066,000. That's a giant increase of 22%. Also a giant increase of 18% in one single month. Absolutely crazy. One thing I noted, I actually have a file in which I look at how is the record highs from 2022 compared to the numbers we're seeing today. And at 1.3 million, this is still down approximately 14% from the peak that was set back in May 2022 for that county. So pretty wild to see that even though it rose by 22% year over year, they're still down by about 14% from the peak from about 2 years ago. Also in San Francisco at nearly $1.6 million, an increase of 8.5% year over year, but down a whopping 23% from the all-time record high that was set back in March of 2022, when at that time we were at $2.06 million. Now it's at approximately $1.6 million right now. Also, the most expensive county in California, San Mateo County at $1.9 million, down 7.6% year over year. 1 year ago, we were at nearly $2.1 million. Santa Clara County up by 20.6% though. Very big changes here. Let's look at SoCal. So SoCal, Los Angeles, up by 12.4%. Orange County up by 16.5%. Look at that, $1.35 million is the median sold price this February. 1 year ago, it was approximately $1.2 million, and sales rose by 12.4%. Also, a lot of people ask me about San Diego. We're at $980,000, quite a bit higher compared to a year ago, up by 11.6%, and sales skyrocketed 20.9% month over month. Ventura is also up by 10.6%, prices at $890,000. Monterey County, love visiting Monterey and Carmel, up by 10.9%. We're at $860,000. And Santa Cruz at $1.2 million. That's actually where I went to college, at UC Santa Cruz. And that's only increasing by 2.6% year over year. The Central Valley, let's talk about Sacramento. So Sacramento, we're at $530,000. A year ago, we're at $499,000, and a gain of 6.2%. Sales virtually flat year over year, but a big increase, up by 18% from January. The all-time record high, by the way, this is from the California Association of Realtors, was at $575,000 that was set in May of 2022. So at $530,000 right now, it's down approximately 8% from the peak. Also in Placer County, which encompasses Roseville, Rockland, Granite Bay, just outside of Sacramento, but it does go all the way until North Lake Tahoe, prices only increased by 3%, and also sales are down by 9% year over year. In the far north, I won't go over these counties because the trends tend to vary quite a bit month to month. So for example, here's a great example here. Trinity County, $280,000 this February. 1 month prior to that, it was at $402,000. This means that prices decreased by 30.4% in one single month. But that's just based on houses that closed escrow this February compared to January. And again, this video is all about the median sold price, not home values. So again, it varies quite a bit for these counties in which the sales can vary quite a bit. Other counties to note here, Mariposa County up by 10.5%, Mono up by 36.8%. Again, this is one of those counties where the fluctuations vary quite a bit. What else do we have here? Yolo County, just outside of Sacramento, prices increasing by 14%, and also sales rose by nearly 19%. And lastly, in Yuba County, just outside of Sacramento, prices down from a year ago and also from 1 month ago as well, even though sales rose by more than 20% from last month and 12 months ago. With that said, thank you so much for watching today's video. I appreciate you. Like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next video.